Hi, everybody. I'm Petra Monaco, the CEO of the Rebel Stand. And with me today, I'm so excited, is my friend Michelle McClintock. I adore her. We live on the opposite sides of the country, but we're spirit animals.
Yes, we are.
So, welcome to the conversation. First off, tell us who you are. I mean, I've already introduced you, but tell us sort of who you are, what you do.
I will. Yeah. So my name is Michelle McClintock, and I am your soul sister, right? We're spirit sisters, soul sisters. And yeah, I live in California, and I am a pranic healer. I am a life coach. I'm a health and wellness coach. And I do house clearings. I clear energy for people and places, basically is kind of what I do, to sum it up,
Yeah.
in a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome because one of the things when I started these conversations was to just focus on artists, and then I realized, wait, energy healing and coaching and it's an artwork too. Like that's how I look at it. Everything is an artwork. Even accounting is an artwork,
Absolutely.
right? Because you're not getting creative with taxes, but it's all a way where you have to use some creativity for the best of your clients and also for yourself. So one of the things about energy healing, I've been into it probably all my life without knowing, but more consciously probably the last 5 years, as I realized I'm an empath and I'm highly intuitive and highly sensitive, where I'm like, oh, this is who I am, just very naturally too. How did you really get going with it? What was the thing that was like, ooh, this is the thing for me? Is there a rock bottom story that goes with it, or is it just like, no, this is just something I was called to do?
Yeah, it's kind of a wrapped up story, as which is interesting. So I spent my whole life in corporate, right? So I started out, working in finance and banking and climbing the corporate ladder, very A-type personality, very using a lot of masculine energy to climb that ladder. And what happened was, in doing that, I got sick. My physical body went, nope, you're done with this. And so I really went into this deep, dark depression and anxiety, and had to have a hysterectomy. I mean, it might be TMI, but that's my story, right? And so after
We
that,
talk about anything and everything around here.
we talk about everything, right? Yeah. So after that happened, I after the hysterectomy and the episode, the bout with depression, I tried to return to my corporate job, and I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I took a different job, a banking job, but it was much more low key, and took that job. But in doing so, after the hysterectomy, I had to heal myself. Like, the doctors were like, here's antidepressants, here's hormone replacement therapy. And at that time, I wasn't into the holistic medicine. I wasn't into energy healing. So I was like, okay, this is going to make me feel better. It didn't make me feel better. It made me feel like shit, honestly. And so I started to play around with my diet and with movement and see what worked for me. And then I was like, okay, this is what's working. I figured out, foods I'm sensitive to, things that weren't working for me. And I was like, okay, I got off the medication, off the hormone replacement therapy. And then I was like, I need to share this. And I went to health coaching school. So I went to I went to IIN, amazing school, graduated, started coaching women. And what I noticed with these women I was coaching was they would have the best intentions. They would do everything right. They would follow the rules. And then they would completely fall off the wagon. And I was like, okay, there's a missing piece here. There's a missing piece here. And it was the mindset, and it was energy work. And so I had done the Avon walk, and I had seen this woman, Ellie, this wonderful woman, and she was behind one of the women that was walking, saying, I can't walk anymore. My hips really, or her knee or her hip was really hurting her. And she's behind her, and she's like doing this thing. And I was like, what is she doing? What is she doing? She was doing energy work on her. And this woman was able to finish the walk. It was amazing. It was amazing. So I was like, okay, I need to know more about that. I need to know more about what's going on with that piece. So that's how I got into pranic healing. But also, while I was in health coaching school, and another thing that kind of started me on the healing path was, while I was in health coaching school, my son was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And so with him, I was really working on his diet and working with the doctors, working on movement and trying to heal him. And so that was another reason, like, I need to help my son. I need another tool to help my son. So, I use the energy work with him as well. And, that was 7 years ago that he was diagnosed, and he's completely medication free. He's completely in remission, clinical remission. There's no signs of Crohn's disease with him right now here. And he got interested in energy work. So for him, he was like, prove this stuff works. So what's really interesting about it is that he learned by doing, and he's and by working with clairvoyants and other people doing energy work, and we have like protocols for pretty much anything that you could use. So if someone comes to me and says, I have diabetes, I have a protocol to use. If someone comes to me and says, I have PTSD, I have a protocol to use. So it's a proven method, which worked for me, because I'm all about, I want instructions. I want to know that it works. Prove it to me. I'm the same way. So that's why I was really drawn to it. So it's a no-touch healing modality. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing in energy down through me. I'm just a conduit. I'm like an extension cord. And then we clear any old stuck energy. So clearing out old negative beliefs, old pain, old patterns, clearing that out, and then re-energizing with fresh energy or fresh prana. And that's the way that pranic healing works. So it's really working with the chakras, major and minor. So you have the major chakras that you've heard about, right? The crown, the throat, the heart. But then you have minor chakras all over the body that control your organs, your nervous system, your digestion, all of that. So we work with all the major and minor chakras to just create harmony in the energetic body. Because what happens is everything shows up in your energetic body first before it shows up in your physical body. So if you have trauma, that trauma finds a spot in the body and goes, I'm going to hang out here. And maybe that's your right hip, right? And then when you're 65 and you haven't dealt with your trauma, you haven't dealt with the emotions, you haven't dealt with the energy stuck there, you end up having hip problems and a hip replacement later on. So it just kind of hangs out. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's betrayal. Shoulders betrayal. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fully aware about all of this, right? Like, I've been studying it myself on behind the scenes, if you will. And since about August, I've been dealing with this random shoulder pain out of nowhere. And I'm active. Like, I'm physical. I have to take care of myself. I eat well, right? Like, and I'm like, it's not constant, but it's like, oh, ow, like that, right? And I'm like, as you're talking, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me,
all right, y'all, I got to take care of that and work through some betrayal trauma.
Yeah. And all healers are different. Like for me, I always see betrayal as like swords in the back of the left shoulder. So yeah. Yeah. I'll take care of that for you later.
Yay. Well, here's the thing. Like I know you know my personal story as well. And my first book was literally writing about the betrayal, right? Like I've talked about the betrayal. I'm fully aware where the betrayal is and what I probably haven't healed. So, but it's the fact that you're here with me and having this conversation, there's just so many people that don't know that this is available to them, available for them, to help them in just another way. Because we hear about Western medicine so many times, and I'm not against it, obviously. It's kept my son alive, without question, continues to do so. But there's also the energy. And I'm one of those people, I just feel that, right?
Yeah. And I love that you said that, because it's a complement to Western medicine, right? So, and like one of the services that I offer is I do surgery healing. So I had, a client who was elderly and was having surgery. So I did my surgery healing, and her recovery, her daughters kept telling me they could not believe how quick she recovered and how reduced her pain was. They expected it to be much, much worse. And she came out, and she was like eating a full meal and happy, and no anesthesia issues. But, and a lot of it is clearing that energy, right? Because we have all that stuck energy that just loops around in our head and loops around in our body and gets stuck. So I always ask people, where's the kink in your hose? Because your energy needs to flow. Everything needs to be flowing. There's a kink in your hose somewhere that's creating excess weight, physical issues, emotional distress. There's a kink in your hose somewhere, so you got to find it.
Yeah, and it it relates 9 times out of 10 to your upbringing, whether you like it or not. That's where it stems from, and it doesn't.
Oh yeah.
And I've talked to people, who grew up in a relatively normal household with a happy parent situation, and there was nothing big, right? There wasn't like foster care or divorce. There was none of that. It was relatively normal, for lack of a better description. But they still have trauma from somewhere, and that could school. If you've been bullied in school, you have trauma 100%. that resides within your body somewhere, and you carry that with you.
Right. And it can be one thing that one person said to you.
Yeah.
If someone said to you, you're never going to amount to anything, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to do healing, and I'm going to find that sentence in your chakra, and I'm going to see how that showed up for you later in life, with your entire life trying to prove yourself over and over and over to the point of exhaustion. Yep. Yeah. We need to remove that. Yeah. Yes. We need to shift that and remove that and replace that and just, kind of repattern too. So,
yeah,
I throw a little NLP
also
too.
Change your thinking. I'm big on cognitive behavioral therapy. That's my training. And I apply that in coaching without the therapy part, obviously, because legally I can't. But, I always tell people, what you think dictates your behavior, and your behavior dictates what you think. And so you just have to really pay attention to your reactions.
Yeah.
Not always how you act on a situation, but your reaction to a situation to find the trigger.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to think before you act. Yeah, but you need to pay attention to the reaction, so you know how to A, where it comes from, and then B, figure out how to shift that or change that and heal that and whatever else you got to do to move forward.
Yeah, and that's I love that you said that, because one of the things that I always work with people on is being in awareness. Being in awareness, especially like if say that I work with someone who's an overeater or a binge eater. What happened right before? What triggered you? Let's get in awareness. What was the mindset? What happened? It's because people don't realize. So like, well, I don't know why I keep doing this. Okay, well, we can figure out just by being in awareness without judgment, right? Because we always go to that place of, oh my God, I'm so this, I'm so stupid, blah, blah, blah. Why not go, oh, interesting that I'm seeing that I'm doing this again. Yeah. I wonder what's going on for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I'm talking about me again, but
it's good.
I have an example. Well, here's the thing. I have food triggers. I mean, I'm not a binge eater. Don't have an eating disorder or none of that kind of stuff, right? But I have a food issue because I was abandoned and neglected. I have trauma around food.
Yes.
And we have food in the house, and there was cake in the house, and I didn't get the last piece, and it triggered me to the point of upsetness. Like, I was so upset that I couldn't even function. Yeah. And I was like, why am I so upset about the fact that somebody else ate that piece of cake? Like, I couldn't understand. I'm not a huge cake person to begin with. Like, it's sort of a mood thing. Like, I have to be in the mood or PMS is happening. And I just kind of sat there for a little while going, well, why did I react that way? Why did I get so upset over it? And I was realizing that because I had food denied when I was little, and there wasn't enough food, and there wasn't enough, I was like, oh, that's my trigger. But I was then able to say because my partner noticed that I was upset. Like, he knows me well enough, and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I got triggered. This is why I got triggered. It's not your fault. Don't take it personal, but I need to work on this.
Yeah. Yeah, and you noticed, and that's a big one, right? When I work with women, because I just did my class called The Energy of Weight, where we talked about energetically what's going on for you that's causing weight issues, whether that's overweight or underweight. What's the energy behind it? And that's a huge one, that there's not enough for me. And that comes from childhood, of being told, of being deprived of food, or being told, getting that weight stuff already in your head at a young child. For you, it was straight up not having enough. Yeah. So for you now, and logically, I can go to the store and buy more cake, right? But in the moment, you didn't have the tools. You didn't have that. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is being taken away from me again, So yeah, that's a really big one that, that a lot of the women I work with
And
just
I
are
love
like,
what you
oh,
said about being self-aware, because one of the things that I teach my clients is to be honest with yourself, which is one of the biggest, scariest things you can do, because all of a sudden you're
absolutely.
looking at yourself going, holy crap, right? Because you're now like looking at yourself in such a different way, and it's like, and a
Yeah.
lot of people don't, because it's scary to look at yourself in ways you've never looked at yourself before, and especially in an honest kind of way that there's only one truth.
There's only one truth. Right. And it's just, yeah. And it's also too, be honest, truly being honest with yourself is such a big one, and then I do mirror work with my clients, and, all of that stuff just creates, because we're so good at avoiding.
Oh
We're
yeah.
so good at avoiding ourselves and our issues and things going on. And then it just, we keep going,
pretending to be happy.
pretending to be happy, right? And I always tell people, I'm just going to put that in my backpack and deal with it later. And pretty soon your backpack is like as big as an elephant and you're dragging it around. You're like, oh my God, why do I have back problems? Why am I cranky all the time? Why am I so mad? Why do I have road rage? Because you can't carry your damn backpack anymore. There's so much shit in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. I want to shift gears a little bit from the work you do to how do you stay motivated? You're human, right? Yeah. So you're going to have some crap days. You're going to have some like, oh God, I can't do this today situations. How do you move through them? And I think this is important for anybody, no matter what business you're trying to do or goals to set or dreams you follow, you will have those days. And I want to talk about with all of my people, how do you move through them? Because we all do it different, and somebody might hear and go, oh, I like that. So how do you move through the shit days?
So here, I used to really beat myself up and be like, I have to be go every single day, especially as a business owner, right? Because it's different when you get up and go to a job, right? You get up and you show up at 8:00, and sometimes you're full of energy and you get all your stuff done, and other days you kind of just slug through it, right? And you're like, oh God, I'm not into it today. But you're there, right? You show up. But when you're self-employed, it's different, right? And I was doing this thing where I was like, I have to work every spare minute that I have of the day, right? If I wasn't working, I was feeling guilty. And I was like, okay, so and someone said this to me a long time ago and it really stuck. Notice your cycles. Notice your cycle. Pay attention. Maybe you cycle around the moon. Maybe you cycle, I don't know, around your own cycle, if you're a woman, around your own cycle. So what does that look like? Is 1 week you're totally on fire and then you go down. And so I started tracking my cycles, and I realized that when I have those days, I just give myself permission to have those days, and go to the gym and go for a walk and maybe go get myself a tea or a juice or something like that. But when at the days that I'm on, I make sure I utilize the days that I'm on to the fullest, right?
Yep.
So those days when I'm like, I'm full of energy, I'm just going to get everything done. So when I have the shit days, I can just allow myself to have a down day. So really was paying attention to my cycles, because I was like, I'm working at 9:00 in the morning. I'm working at 9:00 at night. And then I was feeling like I was working all the time. And then I was starting to resent my business. Mm-hmm. I hate this. I'm not good at this. What am I doing? And also keeping a schedule, right? Yes. So saying I'm going to work from 9 to 11, then I'm going to take a break. Then I'm going to work from 2 to 5. And here's what I'm going to do. And really sitting down and dedicating. I'm still not 100% at that, because I tend to have shiny syndrome and get distracted by everything. Yeah. But really, those are my best tips. Really, giving yourself permission to have those down days, and take them. And
I can totally relate to that. Yeah. I'm an overachiever. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, like, right? Yeah.
Go, do. And for me, it's the moon cycles.
Yeah.
Like I'm sleepy during the full moon and high energy in the new moon, which I think is opposite for most people. Yeah. Where they're like real high energy in the full moon. And I'm like, no, I just want to nap for 5 days until the cycle is over of the moon. But yeah, having that awareness of when you work best and how you work best is really important. And I love that you bring up, the schedule thing. I run up a schedule. I hate the rules, and I hate structure, and I hate routine, but even I do that, or nothing is getting done. Yeah. And that is really, really important.
And I'm old school. I keep like a calendar, like a written one I write on, and I write everything on there. Like today, write my blog post, and today, yeah, I love that one. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's the best way to do it too. And also, give yourself permission to let go of the stuff you really don't need to keep doing. You know, if you can hire a virtual assistant, if you can have someone else do things that you hate doing, like maybe you absolutely hate sending your email. Can you just hire someone for, you know, to help you with that, you know, just because that's going to kill your motivation when you're doing all the stuff that you absolutely hate. Sometimes, you know, when you're new, you have to kind of suck it up and do it because you don't have the resources to hire out, but let that be one of your driving factors, right?
Yeah.
Let that be a motivator for you is, damn it, I want to hire somebody to do this for me, which means I need to get X many, you know, more dollars a month or clients or however that works out for you.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because it is important. It took me 4 years, whatever it is, to get to where I'm at today, where I'm like, oh, I'm working, like, I'm one of those people that I have coffee in bed, but then I roll out and I'm ready to go. Like, I'm literally one of those people, I can just jump out of bed and I'm ready to roll. But then by anywhere between 1 and 2, I'm like, okay, it's nap time. And I try to literally, if I can, take a nap every day during that time. And then I come back and carry on with my day. Sometimes that's going back to work. Sometimes that's doing art. Sometimes that's running around cooking dinner or whatever else I got going on.
See, you know yourself. And like, I'm not a morning person. Like, I want to get up and I want to hang out with my cats and meditate and have my coffee for like an hour and a half in the morning. So I don't, you know, people like, oh, I want to see you at 8 in the morning. No, no, I don't see anybody before 10. No, just because I know. You got to know yourself too and know where you operate the best. Like, you would never schedule anything between 1 and 2 because you know you're not at your best and you don't want to do that to yourself.
Yeah, there's a little bit of flexibility because it is like 1:30 and I'm not napping. I don't have that every day, like literally, because the moon cycle is and I'm in that go moon cycle for me right now where it's like, it's not a thing that I need, but next week I'm gonna be like, oh, nap time. But this is a week where I'm high functioning, high go juice is happening, and I'm gonna get a lot of stuff done, which is actually what you mentioned at the end of the month when I have that slow cycle. I don't have to worry about it because it's already done.
Yeah. And if you can, I know a lot of coaches that schedule all their client calls like on Wednesday or, you know, whatever. Yeah. So making sure too that you know what days of the week, especially if you have kids that you need to kind of navigate around too, making sure that you're being kind to yourself and your schedule.
Those boundaries are so important.
The B word.
I don't think we can talk about boundaries enough ever because people are like, what do you mean I need to say no? You don't need to say no, but wouldn't it be nice if you do?
Yeah. You all permission to say no.
Right?
Nope.
Like, you don't explain it and owe anybody an explanation when you say no. You can just say no.
Yes. No is a complete sentence.
And walk away from that.
My friend Erin always says that. No is a complete sentence.
I love Erin. But it's one of those things that I had to learn too. It's like, oh, these are the days, like I have other clients that I work with and I'm like, oh, I'm only working with you on these days because I have other things going on. I'm a serialpreneur.
Right.
So I schedule that accordingly.
Right. And you need to, and like doing things that work for you. Like I was doing, I do a healing circle. Like I do it's a healing circle. It's a membership where I do group healing every Monday night. And, you know, I had some folks on the East Coast. So I said, okay, well, let me do, and I was doing it at 7, you know, Pacific time. And I said, okay, well, let me do one at 6 for those folks. So I was doing them back to back at 6 and 7. And I did that, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months or something like that. And it was burning me out. And I was like, and so I went to them and I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go back to just the one at night. And, you know, they were all very kind and fine with it. But, you know, I kind of hoed and hummed, should I do this? You know, and you do that, I feel bad. And then I was like, it's not serving me and it's not serving them. So, you know, and so doing what serves you and not always worrying about, because other people, you always overestimate how they're going to react, right? Oh, they're going to be mad, they're going to drop out, whatever. But you know what? It was okay. It was okay.
And I think what's important too is if it's important enough for them, they'll show up.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it's important enough for them and they're in that investment for themselves, then they'll show up no matter what time. I've showed up at 6 o'clock in the morning for coaching sessions because that was the only time I could do it with the lady I was coaching with. So
yeah.
Do I enjoy getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning? Not necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was important to me. So I think when it's important to you, you'll make it happen no matter what. So I think that's important to remember. Of course, everybody's ideal client is a little different. Like my people wouldn't be able to do that during the week. So
Yeah, when people come and go out of the healing circle, it's there when they need it. They take it, when they need it, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna stand for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and then they're like, okay, I feel good. I feel good. And that's good.
Well, where can people connect with you on the interweb?
So you can find me, of course, on Facebook under Michelle McClintock, or MichelleMcClintock.com is my website. Super easy. And all my contact information is on there. Yeah, so I don't know if you're able to do links or gifts or here.
I will.
Okay, I do have a pranic breathing meditation that I'd love for you to put the link to gift everyone.
Yeah,
it's just,
absolutely.
it's pranic breathing, which helps to not only relax your nervous system, but give you a little boost of energy at the same time. So instead of going at 3, 4 o'clock and drinking 5 cups of coffee, just do your breath work. Get back in your body, get a little energy boost, because we don't breathe, right? We do this thing all day long, so it really helps you just breathe and feel energized. So yeah, I'll send that link.
Yeah, we'll totally link all of that up. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation.
Thank you so much. It's been fun. Everyone, thank you for joining.